Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, where we uncover the hidden stories behind the paperwork with a little bit of mischief and a whole lot of insight. Get ready because we are diving into a financial report that involves some serious borrowing and lending. But don't worry, we'll break it down so you don't have to get buried in the details. And hey, if you like your corporate deep dives with a side of clarity and a dash of fun, make sure you are subscribed and join our Discord community linked in the description below. Alright, so what we have here is a current report filed by Ares Strategic Income Fund. Think of it like a quick update to the public about something important that just happened. This filing is dated the 5th of December 2025, and it is all about a significant agreement they've entered into. The main event, the reason for this report, is something called an entry into a material definitive agreement. In plain English, this means they've signed a really important contract. This wasn't just any contract, it was an amendment to an existing loan and servicing agreement. So here is the scoop: the fund, Ares Strategic Income Fund, and a company they completely own called Acer Funding I, which is acting as the borrower. They've updated a loan agreement. This agreement is with a big bank called Societe Generale, or SG for short. They are acting as the agent and the one providing the swingline loan, which is basically a quick, short-term loan to help with immediate cash needs. This isn't a brand new deal. It is actually the 7th amendment to an existing agreement that started back in July of 2023. There are also other important players involved, like US Bank Trust Company, National Association, who are acting as collateral agent and administrator, making sure everything is secure with the assets backing the loan. Now, what's the big change in this 7th amendment? It's all about the cost of borrowing money. They've managed to get a slightly better interest rate. For the longer term loans, the interest rate margin went down from 1.85% to 1.80%. For the loans they can draw on and repay multiple times, called revolving loans, the margin also dropped from 1.90% to 1.80%. On top of these margins, there is a benchmark rate like Term SOFR or Euribor that gets added to determine the final interest rate. So in simple terms, they are paying a little bit less in interest now, which is always good news for a borrower. This might seem like a small change, but over the life of a large loan, those small percentage points can add up to a significant amount of money saved. It suggests the fund might have improved its credit standing or negotiated well because of its relationship with SG. It is important to remember that all this borrowing isn't without rules. The money they borrow has to follow specific rules, called covenants, laid out in the loan agreement itself. Plus, because this is a fund and deals with investments, there are also restrictions under the Investment Company Act of 1940. This is a law designed to protect investors by regulating companies that invest in securities. So while they can borrow, they can't just borrow unlimited amounts. They have to stay within certain limits to ensure they are managing their assets responsibly and not taking on too much risk. The next item in this report, item 2.03, is about financial obligations. Since they've just amended a loan, that definitely counts as a direct financial obligation. This part basically confirms that the changes to the loan agreement create or modify existing financial duties for the company. It's a formal way of saying, hey, we've got this loan, and here are its updated terms. Finally, we get to the end of the report where they list out any accompanying documents. Think of this as the appendix to the main story. Here we see Exhibit 10.1, which is the actual amendment number. 7 to the loan and servicing agreement. This is the complete legal document detailing all the changes. It's like holding the signed contract itself. And then Therese Exhibit 104, which is labeled as a cover page interactive data file. This is an electronic format used for reporting financial information to the SEC that makes it easier for computers to read and analyze. It's important for transparency and automation. And finally, the signature block. This is where the company officially signs off on the report. In this case, it's signed by Scott C. Lem, who holds the important titles of Chief Financial Officer and Treasurer. This tells us that the financial leadership of Ares Strategic Income Fund has reviewed and approved this filing. Now, let's look at the bigger picture here. This filing from Ares Strategic Income Fund is all about managing debt. They've successfully renegotiated a loan to get a slightly better interest rate. What does this tell us? Well, for starters, it shows the fund is actively managing its financial arrangements. A lower interest rate means more money stays within the fund to be reinvested or distributed, rather than going to the lenders. This is a positive signal, especially in an environment where interest rates can fluctuate. It means they are likely in a stable enough position with their lender Societe Generale to negotiate better terms. The fact that it's the 7th Amendment also suggests a long-standing and evolving relationship. However, it's crucial to remember that this is about debt. While managing debt well is a strength, relying heavily on borrowed money always comes with inherent risks, especially if the fund's investments don't perform as expected. The leverage restrictions mentioned are a good safeguard, ensuring they don't overextend themselves. So overall, this update points to sound financial management and a potentially improved cost of capital, but investors should always be mindful of the underlying risks associated with any leveraged investment. Alright, that is our breakdown of the Ares Strategic Income Fund's latest filing. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.